time for Scout Around, as I look back at a busy weekend in which we got 3 new songs for Kiev. In Sweden, 87-year-old Owe Förnqvist reached the final of Melodifestivalen with his song Boogeyman Blues, alongside Robin Bengtsson with I Can't Go On. Places in Andra Gansen were there for Anton Hackman and FONO. Krista Siegfrieds got eliminated in the first round in Sweden this weekend. A couple of familiar names did well in the Baltics. Sasha Song and Aiste Pilvelite are still on course as they reach the semi-final in Lithuania. In Estonia, Koit Toome still has a chance to return to Eurovision after 1998, and Kerli is another notable name that made the cut to the final of Estilo. In Latvia, the 4 remaining acts for the final of Supernova are known. It's Santa, My Radiant You, The Ludwig and Triana Park. On to the countries with the big decisions this weekend. In Hungary, the final of A Dal took place, and Steef van Gorkum, our chief editor and Hungary expert, I believe it was a real treat to follow that show.
Oh yes, and not just for me and for the people who follow the show, but especially for the people in Hungary, because they spoke all week long about the star-struck field. A Dal has always been a pre-selection with a lot of big names. It's Hungary's Melodifestivalen basically, and everyone who is big in the music industry in Hungary wants to take part. But this year was extra special. I spoke before about the diva battle between Totova and Gigi Radic. Carly Sanders was in there as well. So it was a high level, I think, of the final, especially in broad sense, and with a lot of big stars. So I haven't seen the viewing figures yet, but I think a lot of people in Hungary tuned in yesterday to watch that.
And then as the results came in, you already texted me during the show and you said to me, A Dal never ceases to amaze.
Yes, because we had the jury voting in which Carly Sanders was eliminated and Totova was eliminated. So 2 of the 3 biggest names were kicked out by the jury already. And Carly Sanders with 0 points actually. So last year, of course, he had that horrible performance where technically everything went wrong with his microphones and his in-ear. And now this year you thought that maybe he's here to take revenge, and then he ends up with 0 points. It's quite harsh for him. But I think he won't give up on his dream just yet. And then we had that grand final, that super final with 4 songs, of which basically 3 of them were the lesser known names, the new people, the typical jury favorites as well. Yeah.
In the end, we had a winning song that was still quite a surprise.
Yes, well, first of all, like I said, the jury results themselves were already a surprise. Some of the big names being kicked out. And then you could already see it coming that because 2 of the 4 songs in the top 4 were typical jury favorites, that there were 2 other ones, and those 2 would battle it out. Papayotsi, the eventual winner, and Gigi Radic. And as Gigi Radic was the last standing top favorite, basically my money would be on her when I saw the results of the first round being announced. But Papayotsi took it to my surprise, to my positive surprise though, because I was a fan of the song from the very beginning.
It's quite typical that a song like this, a Roma song, has won in Hungary, because we have seen songs like this in the last couple of years as well, but actually winning the contest, that's special.
It's special, it is. And Hungary is, of course, a country where opinions are very divided, where Roma and other ethnical issues are very important and controversial as well. Of course, Hungary is one of the countries where the refugee crisis is also a hot topic. And in that sense, the fact that A Dal has becoming more and more of a diverse show over the years. It has always been a good show, good quality music, popular show, but it has become more ethnically diverse in the last couple of years as well. We've seen more people with a Roma or Gypsy background or other different ethnic backgrounds coming to the A Dal final. But this is the first time that one of them has actually won the competition, and that is very special. And I hope that this, aside from the musical aspect, because I like the song, as I said, a lot, but I hope it will also have some kind of maybe societal impact on Hungary. My hopes of the influence of the show are too high, but that would be great.
It would help, of course, if this song also does well at Eurovision. How do you think
Yes.
will fare in Kiev?
It's a risky choice. I think it could do really, really well. Compared to, for example, Gigi Radic, who was also in the super final. It's more of a safe kind of song, the kind of song that you think that if she has a good draw and if she just sings it well, it'll get to the final and then it will do nothing there because it's too middle of the road. Now, Papayotsi, that's the complete opposite. Because it's a Roma sound and a very traditional Oriental sounding song with the traditional dance in it, it will stand out. That's one thing you know for sure. If there's a big enough audience for it, I don't know. I think it will probably. I hope it will do well, and I think it might. But it's a risky song, and it might also not get picked up at all. But for me, it's at this moment, it's. If it is picked up and if everything starts working in its favor, it's a potential top 10 candidate.
And I know that's one of the things you always love about Eurovision is having a diverse field in the contest.
Yes. Yes, and that's why I wanted this song to win so much because, yes, I want a diverse field and not just a diverse field in genres and in musical styles, but also in languages. This song is not going to be translated. It's going to stay in Hungarian, so I like that as well. In cultural aspects, well, this is a very culturally labeled song. So, yeah, this is good for diversity in the contest, and that's the theme of this year. So, yeah, I'm a big fan.
Thank you, Steef. Poland also picked their act for Ukraine 2017. Kasia Moss won the national final, in which Marcin Marzinski took part as well. He represented Poland in 2010, but now ended up in 7th place in the national final. Kasia Moss will sing the song Flashlight in Kiev. In Malta, Claudia Faniello was the winner of the national final, which was being reviewed by Sadie Trent for us on escdaily.com. Yes, Sadie, for Claudia, it's finally a victory, we can say.
Yeah, so she's competed. I've lost count of how many times now she's competed in Malta, and finally she has her chance. But I have to say, as many people know, I'm far from happy with her choice. She was one of the underdogs going into last night's final. I think she should have been in the top 3, but not win it overall. And considering how many ballads usually get selected for Eurovision, and considering how many ballads that have already been selected this year, I think I have to say it, and I'm going to be brutally honest, she's going to have a low chance of qualifying, and she won't better her brother's results from the previous years that he has entered.
Yeah, and that's possibly because you think, if I'm translating your words correctly, but correct me if I'm wrong, that this is not such a strong ballad.
No, I think from the ballads that have already been selected, I think Lindita from, I think, Albania has the stronger of the 2 ballads. So I think that Albania has because they have the stronger of the 2, that one will stand out more over this one. Albania's vocals are 10 times stronger, stands out more, much more dramatic. It's not so mellow, and there's something missing from Claudia's performance. I just can't put my finger on it.
What did you think about the show in general? Were there other songs or artists in there that you think would have been a better choice?
I think overall the technical standard of the show was really high. The new head of PBS came into his job, I think, last August, and he decided to move the national final to a much bigger venue, which I think was a brilliant idea. The artist who I think would have been a much better choice from the outset, I was backing Brooke. Or from the outset, it had to be her. She came second to Irolosko last year with Golden, and her song this year was so much better. She had more confidence, she had more experience. So I think with the absence of her from the top 3, I think it should have been Janice. But if Brooke had been in the top 3, it should have been Brooke. But I'm still majorly annoyed that Brooke didn't even place.
Yeah. We also had Richard Edwards in there. Former participants always bring something extra to Eurovision pre-selection. He took part in 2014 with the band Firelight. How did he do?
He wasn't. To me, he wasn't the best, but he wasn't bad either. I think his nerves got the better of him, because I don't think he's experienced enough to perform at the much bigger venues that he performed at last night. But with people like Janice, Brooke, Kevin, Claudia in the mix, he almost didn't stand a chance. But I think his 2014 song with Firelight was much better than the song he had last night.
You really focus at the song, also on the vocals of Claudia, who in the end won. Last year, we of course saw that Malta changed their whole song, changed their whole performance. But this time, I don't believe it's possible anymore, right?
No, it's not. They had last year. As Ira Losco was going around all the interviews, she was saying that that there was a rule saying that the artists could challenge the song if they wanted to, and Ira Losco has always been that sort of person to challenge her work. And I think last year they ended up with the better song with Walk on Water, but now with the jury vote having gone completely. Now, and that rule having gone completely, now it's not possible for the song to change at all, even though people are still calling for it to be changed. It cannot happen.
Is that a bad thing? Because last year it worked out fine for them in the end, and now they changed that rule, even though the rule did its work. So it's a bit strange to me that they took this rule away.
Well, I think it was because they still had the public vote last year, and the public in the juries voted for Ira Losco when she performed Chameleon. So I think because she changed the song and things like that, that is why they got rid of it, because the paying public actually voted for Chameleon and not Walk on Water, even though... So do you see where I'm going with this? They voted for one song, but she changed it to another. Even though I backed her decision, I sort of see why John Bundy at PBS changed the rules to say that the song can't be changed.
So to wrap it up, is this the way you think that Malta needs to keep finding their acts for Eurovision?
The national final format, yes, I think they should stick with it. Stick with the venue that they had last night, the MFCC, because it was much bigger than the Mediterranean Conference Centre in Valletta. And I think if Malta were ever to win Eurovision, the MFCC would be the ideal venue for it. But bring back the jury vote. I plead with PBS to bring back the jury vote, because I think Claudia has something to prove. She wants to be better than her brother, and I don't think this year it's going to work out for her. And I think if she doesn't, she's going to keep going and keep going and keep going until she does. So I think they should bring back the jury vote, and then we'll be able to see where people like Janice, Brooke, Kevin would have placed against Claudia. I don't think that the juries would have rated Claudia very highly, considering the ballads we already have.
Thank you, Sadie. Ukraine now have their national final field, which was completed by Milavin and the song Wonder, which qualified on televote results after a tie with Ketnay. Torvald became the 6th finalist for next week with the song Time in Ukraine. Portugal started the Festival da Canção with a couple of big names in the first semi-final. 3 former winners of The Voice were on the list, and 2 of them reached the final. Fernando Daniel, who won The Voice last year in Portugal, and Diolinda Kinzimba, both of them reached the final. The winner of the semi was a girl trio group, Viva la Diva, and Salvador Sobral completed the final field with the 4 first qualifiers. In Slovenia, former Eurovision participant Omar Naber reached the final VMA. Another notable name that is now on the list for the final is Raven, who was a super finalist last year. Full results for all shows can be found on our website, escdaily.com. Every Monday night we give you a roundup of all results, and every Monday morning we are there with another podcast of Scout Around. We will also do that next week, of course.